Hey guys, welcome back. Let's do this. Let's get into the facts. Most of you guys have probably already seen these facts of the day. They're just grabbed. I just grabbed them off searching for dinar. Um, let's go through them and then we'll see if there's any key points that like key highlights or something that I can grab from it and share with you. Okay, let's get started. So you guys remember, it was probably about 3, 4 days ago. By there was a tweet that Trump had put out and Fox News kind of shared. Okay, let's look at what that tweet is. Okay, so on this tweet, Trump had came out congratulating J.P. Morgan Chase Bank for ordering their staff back to their office back on September 21st. It said, "Will always look better than working from home." Well, here's what I want to share with you. I had a chance to talk to a good friend of mine who works for Chase Bank, and I asked them, I said, what type of your staff is actually going to be returning back as of September 21st? And what they said with me is this, hear me carefully on this, guys, this is good. What they said is this: the staff that's returning back to work with Chase Bank on September 21st is the call center staff. Okay? It's for call center operations and call staff in the call centers. That's the Chase Bank staff returning back to work as of September 21st. Again, it's the call center staff. So I hope you guys enjoy that. All right, let's get into the news articles here. We've got some good news articles for you. Nothing real earth shattering, but it's decent, okay? So let's look at the first one here. All right. So here's the first article. The government speeds up sending the 2020 budget with the aim of obtaining new loans. Now, remember, one of the things I explained to you guys is that with these loans, remember, the loans are needed to, right now, the 2020 budget only covers operating costs, and the budget is a little high. It's 148 trillion for a 6-month semi-annual period. When that was again, that's a 6-month period, when the pre-COVID budget, which was a 12-month period, was actually spec'd out or calculated at 164 trillion. So the difference between 12 months at 164 trillion, which is pre-COVID, and then post-COVID of 148 trillion, which is only a semi-annual 6-month budget, guys, that's only a difference of $16 trillion or dinar. Okay, so my point is, if they need that much money, 148 trillion, and by the way, I told you guys I confirmed this by talking with my Iraqi contact. I have this confirmed, and that is a 6-month period spanning from October 1st through the end of March of next year in 21. So if they need a full 148 trillion for 6 months, guys, I promise you there is some money in there. Because if you take half of their original 6-month budget of 164 trillion, again, that's a 12-month period, half of that, guys, is only, I believe it's 82 trillion. That would mean there's an extra $66 trillion in there, and that would be used to fund reforms. That's why it's so high. So there is some reform funding inside the 2020 budget, okay? Let's look at this article. The Parliamentary Finance Committee confirmed on Wednesday that the governor's speedy vote on the 2020 budget and its submission to Parliament aims to allow the government to borrow new from home and abroad, and is likely that the budget will be presented to Parliament next Saturday. Okay? A member of the committee, Representative Jamal Cougar, said in a press interview, the Kademi government, after it exhausted the loan it obtained from the internal banks, felt that it was facing a critical situation, so it is rushed to approve the budget and send it to the House of Representatives for approval. He explained that the government aims to accelerate the approval of the budget to obtain approval from Parliament and to allow it to borrow new from home and abroad. He added that the draft budget will arrive at the Finance Committee today, Wednesday, and that for the purpose of studying it, and likely the budget will be presented to Parliament next Saturday. So I just want to point something out to you again. What have I told you? I've told you that the 2020 budget, guys, which has reforms in it. Okay, notice how the timing of the white paper reforms has aligned with the timing of the budget. Remember, I told you they're married together, and you're seeing them come forth together. So there's proof on that. Okay. Reforms and budget are coming forth together at the exact same time. Remember, they told you that the reforms would be submitted to they would submit them to Parliament at the end of September for approval. Again, for approval of the reforms by Parliament, end of September. So So there you go. So they're married together. But remember, I've told you the reforms are post rate change. And notice, here's what I want to show you. Notice how they're submitting the 2020 budget on approximately Saturday, 6/19. And then when the Iraqi government was here on 8/20, signing agreements between the Iraqi government and U.S. companies for $8 billion. And I told you those were basically had a 30-day execution period from that specialist I talked to that's very versed in international contracts. And that individual shared with me that Iraq, on August 20th, Iraq did not come to the U.S. to meet with the Iraqi or to meet with the U.S. government, the Trump administration. They could have done that over video conferencing. They stressed to me that the reason why Iraq came here, guys, was to sign those $8 billion worth of contract agreements. Okay, and they said those contract agreements, because they're international, would most likely have a 30-day execution period, which means in 30 days, if that information's accurate, they have to have a rate at the 30-day mark. That 30-day mark is, and again, this whole video is my opinion, should not be used for financial advice. Okay, if the contracts do have a 30-day execution period in them, again, we don't know because we have not seen these agreements, so we're working off of a speculated opinion on this, just based on real knowledge, though, that if those contracts did or do have a 30-day execution period, the rate would have to show its face in 30 days, taking you to a rate change date for September 20th, okay, or by September 20th. But as you guys see right here, as you see, I've kind of told you that the budget is married to the reforms, and all of those items are dependent on the rate change. And notice how they're submitting the budget for the first reading of it as of September 19th. Think about that carefully, okay? Let's move on to the next article. The president of the Kurdistan region, excuse me, affirms his support for the Kazemi government and the stability of Iraq. Shafak News, president of the Kurdistan region, Barzani, confirmed on Wednesday his support for the federal government headed by Mustafa Kazemi and the stability of Iraq, stressing the same time the implementation of the federal system as stated in the Iraqi constitution. Notice how they have this implementation of this new federal system. This is brand new. News articles have never mentioned or talked about this before. It's something that's brand new. Federal system. Federal, guys, means internationally recognized. Federal's international, okay? And yet they're talking about a federal system that is stated in the Iraqi constitution. Think about that carefully. That's federal system. It could also be titled or labeled as post rate change status. Okay? Think about that carefully. So they're talking about the implementation of the federal system or post rate change status, which is stated and stipulated in the Iraqi constitution. The region's presidency said in a statement received by Shafak News, the president of the Kurdistan region, Barzani, today received the representatives of foreign consulates, indicating that Barzani spoke to the attendees about general conditions of the region and relations between Baghdad and Erbil, ongoing dialogues to address these problems. The statement indicated that Barzani also spoke about relations with neighboring countries and the challenges facing Kurdistan and Iraq, facing the coronavirus and its repercussions, as well as facing the dangers of ISIS, overcoming difficult economic crisis, and the reform process in the region, indicating that thank the European Union countries for their cooperation in the reform process. In the region, it stressed on the necessity of continuing the support. Barzani affirmed, according to the statement, in the region's support for the Mustafa Kazemi's government and Kurdistan's desire to address problems in accordance with principles of the Iraqi constitution and in a manner that guarantees the rights and entitlements of the region, stressing the implementation of the federal system as stated in the constitution. Barzani stressed that Kurdistan's region has always been a factor of stability in Iraq and will remain so and wishes to develop its relations with neighboring countries on the basis of mutual respect and common interests wide with two countries. In another aspect of the meeting, Barzani highlighted the fears of the emergence of ISIS and stressed the need for continued international support for the region of Iraq in the face of terrorism and important coordination between the Peshmerga forces, the Iraqi army. Oh, guys, this is good, especially the areas covered by constitutional Article 140. If you guys were to research and review right now Iraq's constitution, it only goes up to currently Article 139. So in order for them to even implement Article 140, they have to amend the Constitution and add Article 140. Now, noticing in this article, they're talking about this thing called the federal system as stated in the Iraqi Constitution. Again, guys, that's post-rate change. And here they're showing you basically that Article 140 is going to be titled or covered inside of what's called the federal system of the Iraqi Constitution. So when the rate changes, they will have to, and they will amend the Constitution, add Article 140 to it, and then they have this valid federal system and they can implement it. Okay, let's keep moving on. According to the statement, the consuls and representatives of foreign diplomatic corps asked many questions to the region's president about the themes of the meeting, the U.S.-Iraqi strategic dialogue, the recent visit of the region's visit to Baghdad and Ankara, and other issues related to the situation in the region. Situation in the region, and consuls emphasized that they consider their relations with Kurdistan region of Iraq important. In answering the consuls' questions, Barzani stressed the region's policy and orientations are based on protecting the security and stability of the region, stressing dialogue and joint action to overcome crisis to help displaced and refugees to return to their original areas. Next article. Parliamentary finance. The salvation of Iraq lies in the Chinese agreement. Now remember, guys, it was either around November or early December. I think it was early December of last year. Iraq and China got together. They drafted an agreement, okay, for reconstruction. China was going to come in and do a whole bunch of reconstruction. As you guys know, China has never returned. None of the work was ever started. Okay? So what they're showing you right here is now that they're even bringing this up again, they're showing you that this reconstruction with China is literally dependent on the rate change. That's where they're bringing it up and revisiting it at this current time. Let's read the article. A member of the Parliamentary Finance Committee called on Wednesday to proceed with the Chinese agreement. So they're telling proceed the China agreement to benefit from its economic position instead of moving forward with the agreement with Washington, noting that the agreements represent a rescue for Iraq from its problems. The country's salvation from the accumulations of the past and the collapse of the infrastructure lies in the advancement of the Chinese agreement, indicating that China is a stumbling block in front of Washington economically, which leads the latter to conclude some agreements with the Iraqi side in order to obstruct the Chinese agreement with Baghdad. He added the government should present the Chinese agreement in a detailed, transparent manner to the House of Representatives to pass it in order for it to be accepted and obligated, and to fulfill all the necessary legal and legislative frameworks to ensure the implementation of the agreement proceeds without American foreign political restraints. The ban clarified the United States of America does not want in any way the Iraqi government, House of Representatives, to proceed with activating economic cooperation with Beijing. So here they're saying that the Iraq's parliament would actually need to approve of this agreement to implement it. But as you guys know, notice how they're bringing it up now for implementation. And what is it? It's construction. Reconstruction. What is reconstruction, guys? It's reforms. That's why they're talking about it now at this period. And what did I tell you? Reforms need funding from a budget. And look at how these Chinese agreements for reconstruction, which are reforms, are also aligned with the timing of the 2020 budget. Just more confirmation on things that I've already shared with you. All right, Al-Kazemi reforms papers includes Parliament on the 2021 budget. It will be a difficult year for Iraqis. Next week, the House of Representatives will hold a session on the 2021 budget law. Prime Minister Kazemi will present the reforms paper that he promised as part of next year's budget law. So right there, they're saying they're going to present the reform papers next week, and that would be for approval by Parliament. Okay, Member of Parliament Jamal Cougar said the beginning of the real reforms will be with the 2021 budget, and this means the Prime Minister wants Parliament to vote on it as a mandate through the staircase of reform clauses in the 2021 budget law. He added the Prime Minister informed Parliament to send a draft of the government reform paper that he promised at the end of this month, followed by another paper in the middle of next month, provided that the implementation of these reforms will be postponed until the beginning of next year. Returning the 2021 budget, Cougar explained that it is austerity and will be a very difficult year for all Iraqis if oil prices remain low in light of the corona pandemic, so it will be very tired and has a large deficit and many debts, noting that the government is under severe pressure from the parties and the street, as well as situation difficult economic. On the 2020 budget, a member of the House of Representatives explained the cabinet will finish it at the end of this week, and it is assumed that there will be a parliament session next week regarding it. So guys, they're not going to tell you the truth. I mean, right now, they have to lie to you. Not one article, and I've already confirmed it, okay? Not one article has even come out and told you that their fiscal year is April through March. That's Kuwait's fiscal year. Okay, many other Middle Eastern countries have fiscal years spanning from April through March. Okay, and again, Shabibi said in 2021, the rate can only change at the beginning or middle of the fiscal year. September to October is the very middle. September ends the first half. October starts the second half of the year. Okay, Iraq's never told you this. They can't tell you everything. So right here, I'm just trying to show you and reveal it to you how they do partially lie to you. They have to. Because there was one, hold on, let me find it. It basically talked about the implementations of the reforms will be postponed until the beginning of next year. The beginning of next year still is part of the 2020 budget, okay? So what they're telling you is they want to implement the reforms at the beginning of next year, in January, whatever. Guys, that's still part of the 2020 budget, okay? It's that simple. So anyway, let's move on to the next article. Anyway, guys, hey, that's it, guys. That's all of the articles I have for you. Lots of good stuff there, and let's just make sure we went through them all. Looks like we did. All right. So, anyway, guys, good stuff. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I? Oh, yeah, it says the government. I think I may have skipped. Hold on. I may have skipped some of these or not been at the very beginning. So, let's just look at this. Parliamentary finance, the government speeds up sending the 2020 budget with aim of obtaining new loans. The Parliamentary Finance Committee confirmed on Wednesday the government's speedy vote on the 2020 budget, and its submission to Parliament aims to allow the government to borrow from home and abroad, and it is likely that the budget will be presented to Parliament next Saturday. Again, this Saturday is roughly the same 30-day window mark as to Iraq, the execution of Iraq's contract agreements with U.S. companies that were drafted and put into place in effect on August 20th. Okay? That may not be coincidence, guys. A member of the committee, Representative Jamal Cougar, said in a press interview, the Kademi government had exhausted the loan it obtained from the internal banks, felt that it was facing a critical situation, so it rushed to approve the budget and send it to the House of Representatives for approval. He explained that the government aims to accelerate the approval of the budget to obtain approval from Parliament to allow it to borrow from home and abroad. He added that the draft budget law will arrive at the Finance Committee today, Wednesday, for the purpose of studying it. It is likely that the budget will be presented to Parliament next Saturday. All right, let's look at the first article here that I missed and didn't get to you. Actually, I think I have two more. Let's just look at this one and then we'll go down one, okay? So Parliament resumes its sessions without agreeing on the agenda. So anyway, guys, we're not going to tell any of this. What I'm showing you here is this. They lie to you a lot and they put a lot of BS out there. This proves they put BS out there, guys. This article is telling you that they're not even willing to show you the agenda for this coming Saturday, and they're saying Parliament's going to resume without agreeing on an agenda. That's bullcrap, guys. They're going to do the budget on Saturday, okay? So we're not even going to read this article. They're misleading. So it says, in a few days, we will reveal an initial report that includes billions of waste and major corruption files. So we're not going to read this one either, but going back to like what I showed you yesterday, how Kim Clement had prophesied, he said in the fall things will fall in the fall. He said kings will fall, princes will fall. Kings and princes just nothing more than a reference to high-profile, important people. Things will fall in the fall. And guys, the fall starts, I believe it's on September 23rd. I believe September ends on September 22nd. So summer ends on 9/22, fall starts on 9/23. And here, as I showed you like yesterday, they're putting a bunch of articles talking about tackling corruption in the fall. So in this is kind of showing you here that they're going to try to deal with major corruption files. So Kim Clement's prophecies are coming forward right before your eyes. Hey, you guys are the best. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful evening, and on to the next video. Take care and have a wonderful evening.